Good evening, everyone. Better, I always forget to unmute myself. I've been doing this for quite some time, and I still don't get it right. Fantastic. Do what the will shall be the whole of the law. How's everybody doing? It's been a while since I've done one of these, a few months, in fact. And the reason is that it's just been life is crazy. It went back to be absolutely mental as it was pre-pandemic. Nobody really has time to stay in front of a screen all the time, unless you work from home like I do, of course. And so well, anyway, here we are. So how is everybody doing? I hope you are enjoying the summer if you're in the northern hemisphere, or the winter if that's your thing in the southern hemisphere. It's weird because I guess after 10 years of living in the UK, I really became I got a little bit of Britishness in me, in the sense that I'm talking about the weather all the time. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that we're going through this crazy heat wave here in the northern hemisphere, and here in the UK it's been miserable. Like July has been very cold, and I don't like it. And maybe you can hear that I don't like it from my voice because I've been not I haven't been very healthy in the last few week, in fact. So what are we going to discuss tonight? Well, a bunch of things. First of all, as usual, for those of you who you would remember how this format works, if you have any questions about magic, Thelema, Aleister Crowley, the usual, drop them in the chat, and I will maybe get to answer them. Right? If I know the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, and maybe we will find together the answer in a future live stream. Why not? What I've been up to and what we will be discussing, though, is going to be a little bit more like the focus of this live stream, because we haven't seen each other in a few months. It's nice to catch up. Hello, Valentina from Arizona. I guess you are in the desert, so you're definitely not experiencing the torrential rains we're experiencing here in London. So, good for you. In fact, I have to love a little bit of desert myself at the moment. Um, Valentina is one of my member of the channel members, so thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that. So what we've been doing, I finished the Thought Tarot Magic course. You will remember that I was running for the first time this course explaining the magic behind the Thought Tarot. Uh, Not so much, teaching how to read the cards, even if we went through it in a quite an extensive lesson on the elemental dignities, but what is the Thought Tarot? Why Crowley thought put so much stock into it, and why in fact it explains the mysteries and the magic of Thelema quite well. It's been 6 months on the major arcana, almost 6 months of like week by week, and let me tell you, it's been really intense, but I really enjoyed it. I got so much material out of it, so much great experiences. Some of you, in fact, I can see Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. You've been on the course, and we've been working the major arcana for 6 months. It's been fantastic. The course is now available for self study if you want to try it yourself. I don't know if I will do another live cohort. Maybe I will. It's been intense though, right? In the sense, like, putting together all the path workings, guiding people through to the cards every week has been it's been a magical journey. Almost it feels like I've been doing a magical operation for 6 months myself, which it's been a little bit taxing as well, I must say. There you go. Andrew saying it was brilliant worth. Thank you very much, Andrew. It's been a pleasure to have you on board. Um, we also midway into cohort 2 of my Magic Without Tears course. The course that created the book, and then the book informed the course back, and I really enjoying that as well. It's interesting how you can discuss what seems like the same topics again and again, but every time you do it with different people, and by doing it with different people, you get something different, right? You would think that uh, I didn't need to hear anything anymore about the lesser ritual of the pentagram. But in fact, you always discover something because somebody gets to do it for the first time and they hit you back with feedback. And maybe from time to time, it's the one thing you never thought about because it never happened to you or you never thought it important. But then you see it under that specific perspective, and it's really fascinating. After all these years, you can still find interesting material to consider. We're taking a break in the summer because a lot of the students are in fact in countries that are really hot at the moment, and then we'll start again for the second part on end of August, really. But like this is all pretty much like old stuff, and what I'm going to talk to you tonight is something absolutely new. Let's see if I can actually get it right. There you go. Yes. So, what is the Holy Guardian Angel experience? I hear you asking, right? Um, the Holy Guardian Angel is pretty much the one whenever I ask folks, hit me with your questions, or whenever you go on Reddit, if you can stomach that, or Facebook groups, which is a little bit better, but it's got its even Facebook group got its own problems. Or there's not so much occult Twitter, occult X, I don't know, whatever Elon Musk decided to call the website, but that website is pretty much dead, right? There's no real discussions on it anymore, but there used to be. Uh, eh, eh, the most frequently asked question was always like, "Can you tell me about Holy Guardian Angel? I need to invoke the Holy Guardian Angel. How do I invoke the Holy Guardian Angel? Holy Guardian Angel, etc., etc., etc." Well, suffice to say that the Holy Guardian Angel is a very, very, very complex topic. Okay. The fact that most people that speak about the Holy Guardian Angel speak of it because they learned the concept from Crowley, or maybe not directly from Crowley, reading Crowley, because very few people actually read Crowley, but maybe they read it from Damien Eccles, or they read it from Donald Michael Craig, or they read it from Lon Milo Duquette. All these famous authors that over the last 80 years, really, going even deeper, of course, than this. Than these ones that we just mentioned, but all various authors and magicians that have pretty much continued to present the idea of the Holy Guardian Angel that was really popularized in the Western esoteric tradition via Crowley. Okay, because Crowley made it so important, so central to Thelema. And even if a lot of these authors, maybe with the exception of Milo Duquette, never really were never Thelemites themselves, they still recognize Crowley's prominence, and they still use the idea of the Holy Guardian Angel as an important milestone of initiation. Well, the real problem is that while most of these authors really have, clearly knew what they were talking about, maybe they weren't very clear in communicating the fact that the concept of the Holy Guardian Angel, it's very fragmented. Okay, when you speak of Holy Guardian Angel in Thelema, you don't really say the same thing as somebody who's strictly working in a Golden Dawn tradition. I'm thinking of my friend and colleague Aaron Leach. Aaron Leach, when he speaks of the Holy Guardian Angel, speaks of something specific, which is not what I speak about, right? Because I'm a Thelemite. This is almost never discussed, right? Never. And what I want to do is what I've been working on, in fact, and especially in the last month, is putting together a series of lessons that will teach the history of this term, right? Where does this term comes from, and what it meant at each of its stage of its development, and eventually what can you do today if you want to have this experience And on that sense, what I can teach you is only of the tradition that that I'm familiar with. So of course I'm putting together a series of techniques and practices that can give you um, an introduction to the concept of the holy guardian angel in a Thelemic frame set, okay, framework. Sorry. I'm seeing some interesting questions in the chat. I'll answer them at the end of this hopefully short presentation. I tend to ramble as usual. Um, so in the course, and I'll explain how the course will work at the end of this short presentation. We start from, of course, we have to start from the akephalos, from the headless one, from the Greek magical papyri, which is or PGM, papyri greche magiche, which became such a it's such a like a popular trendy topic at the moment. And while the mysticism of the experience of the holy guardian angel, it's really not central to the spells of the PGM. Well, lo and behold, the root of the idea of this idea, it's found there, right? And so my idea is to, in this course, presenting you the roots. Also, what is the headless rite? What is the akephalos? Some of you will remember that a few months ago I was invited by Dr. Justin Sledge on his channel Esoterica to discuss exactly this. And I possibly will put the link below to that conversation, and you'll see that or even like Dr. Sledge's videos on the headless one. The headless one, the akephalos, we don't know much about it because the PGM tradition is a broken tradition. Uh, People that work with it will swear by it, will say that the spells work, that the most powerful spells that there are. I went on record multiple times to say that they never did anything for me. I tried a lot of them, zero results, to the point that it possibly, it proved to me that it's a broken tradition, right? Like almost like it's an unworkable tradition. And why it works for others, I can tell. Magic is not an exact science, right? Um, but the point is that we really don't know if the akephalos was a god, a series of gods, a spirit. We don't know. Okay, I have my idea what it represents, and I will present it in the course. And from that point, we move to yet another important and fundamental step, which is, of course, the magic of Abramelin the mage. The Abramelin operation is possibly the next next to the concept of the Holy Guardian Angel itself. The Abramelin operation is the most famous magical ritual, or I would say operations, a series of rituals that is connected with the idea of the Holy Guardian Angel. Once again, very few people know what the Abramelin operation really is about. Very few people ever attempted it because of its complexity. And very few people understand that the scope of the Abramelin operation is quite different in the sense that you attain the knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel in order to do something else. In the case of this operation, in order to create magical talismans, magical squares to bind demons. It's very grimoire. It's an operation that stems from the Solomonic tradition, right? And the Solomonic tradition is very focused on commanding demons, commanding spirit by the virtue of God, by calling upon the authority of the one through God. As you can imagine, this is very at odds with something that we Thelemites feel like, because the one true God in Thelema is yourself, in the sense that there is no God but man in Thelema. And this, as I mentioned multiple times, and also go about it in my book, this is not atheism, even if it's been understood as atheism by a lot of Thelemites. I think it's more a declaration of the fact that the true godhood is within as opposed to without. And possibly, this might seem like a paradox, and this is something that maybe I will discuss also in the lessons of my of my course ahead. So yes, I will introduce all in the lessons the story of the Abramelin, and I will tell you a little bit of my experience in performing the Abramelin operation when I was young. I don't think I would be able to get about all that intense operation and working right now. I'm definitely old and battered, right? But and also what was my end experience, because I started it in a very traditional way and I ended it in a very Thelemic personal way, and we will uh, we will discuss that for those of you who will decide to join me on this endeavor. Finally, we will get to discuss once and for all what is the experience of the Holy Guardian Angel in Thelema proper. Okay, and I decided to share with you this quote from One Star in Sight by Aleister Crowley, and I'm going to read it. Crowley states very clearly that it is impossible to lay down precise rules by which a man may attain to the knowledge and conversation of his holy guardian angel. For that is the particular secret of each one of us, a secret not to be told or even divined by any other, whatever his grade. It is the Holy of Holies, whereof each man is his own priest, and none knoweth the name of his brother's God or the rite that invokes him. First of all, you will notice gendered language. This is Crowley. This is by no means, an experience limited to males, or to it's the experience, it's the birthright of humanity, really. Everybody can, and I think everybody should try and aspire to this experience. But of course, Crowley being Crowley, writing over 100 years ago, gender language, right? Actually, I'm thinking One Star Insight was written in 1920s, something like that. So almost 100 years ago, precisely, in fact. So you might look at this and think, Wait a second, like if Crowley tells you that you cannot find precise rules, and if there's no ritual, and if nobody can teach you a ritual, in fact, how can Marco tell us what to do?" Well, this is the point, right? I cannot, and uh, that's impossible for anyone to do it, right? In the system of the AA, a series of rites, rituals, have been presented as blueprint blueprints, sorry, to for aspirants to work towards and try to figure out the components of a ritual, so that they then can um, create their own. Now, I'm telling you this because, of course, the next one, next question is that, well, but I've heard that Liber Samek is the ritual to obtain the knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel. Liber Samek was a specific ritual that Crowley put together for one of his students, Frater Pergradier. It was pretty much like a ritual crafted for a specific person, right? I've heard a lot of people that swear by the fact that over the years they worked these rituals themselves, and they got great experiences from it. It's absolutely possible, um, but the reality here is that what's important in Liber Samek is what are the elements that make up the ritual, right? And this is what we're going to do. We are going to analyze the ritual. In fact, the ritual itself proposed to analyze by Kabbalistic means the headless rite. So we're going to make a nice circle going back to the beginning. And in fact, at the end of this, what you should be able to have is the knowledge to understand what creates Liber Samek, what are its moving parts, what are its cogs, right? And so, if you're an experienced magician, because this course is really aimed at, not, let's say, not a complete beginners, but uh, you should be able to have the knowledge to start at least thinking of what you need to do, what you need to put together, what symbols you need to work with, what symbols resonate with you, or what symbols can become this or that substitution for other symbols that are found in Samek. And the point is that having somebody that can guide you into this analysis, it's very helpful. It was very helpful for me when I was studying it many years ago. So, in many ways, this is the outline of the course itself. Is it only theoretical? No, there will be practices as well. These practices will be um, we will be looking at more advanced Thelemic rituals besides Liber Samic. I'm thinking Liber 5. I'm thinking a little bit at the Star Ruby. I'm thinking the Mass of the Phoenix, and then there will be something else, because what I notice is that working with using path working, it's really an effectual way for everybody to absorb esoteric information. I proved that to myself and to my students in the Thought Tower Magic course that just finished. So I'm putting together a series of path workings that you know uh, will help the practice itself, right? But the point is that at the end of this, and this course will only last, I'm saying only last 8 weeks, because I realized that you cannot do much more than that anymore. Like when I start teaching magic online, it was the pandemic, as I said many times. That's kind of like my origin story, and we were closed into our homes all the time. Now it's not the case anymore. So more than 2 months, 8 weeks, it's just impossible, right? So it will be very, very, very focused, so like packed of information, but also the practice it will be a little bit intense, okay? But like I said, one of the critics, I said many times, like a lot of my critics tell me that I only teach the lesser ritual of the pentagram. Well, things are going to change, right? And they're going to change with a bang, as they say. So before moving on to the questions, I see a very, very long question, and I hope I'll be able to get to them. Um, final. So there you go. A little bit of logistics. So the course will start on the 27th of October. All the infos are already at marcovisconti.org. From now, which is the 31st of July till the 31st of August 2023, in case you're watching this in the future, sorry, you lost it. But if you're watching this in the present, you have 1 month window where I'm offering it at a 25% discount. There's a reason for this, and the sense is that I realized that the platform I'm using doesn't offer payment plans. A lot of people have problems with PayPal, problems with Stripe. I'm trying to find a way for a simple way and a simple way, both for you and for me, where I can actually offer payment plans. And I know I need a little bit longer than that. So payment plans will be available from September, and that will be when the final full price will go live. So you're asking me how much it's going to cost? Well, now it's going to cost you £300. From September, it's going to cost you £400. But it will be from September onwards, you'll be able to access payment plans as well. If you have more questions, you can email me at marcovisconti.org, or you can ask me questions here. And that's it. I hope I'll see you in class, right? Because I think this is going to be a really good experience. Of course you would say that, Marco. You're gonna try to sell us something. No, I've been doing this for a while now, and I've been getting good feedback for the people that been studying with me. So I think that I'm pretty confident that I will be able to teach you exactly what I'm setting up to teach, and you'll get all the information you need to have the tools to embark on this journey yourself. Final, word of caution: if you're a complete beginner, yes, you can join us, right? And you can definitely learn a lot from the theoretical side of all the lessons, right? We see it's going to be a little bit of a history and philosophy lesson, if you want. But the practices that I will present will will imply that you are very familiar with the rituals of the pentagram, the rituals of the hexagram. We're very familiar with the practice of liberesh, very familiar with the practice of meditation, of visualization, all the building blocks of ritual magic and Thelema. Okay, so the point is, if you're a complete beginner, please join us. Maybe you might want to then check out my book or my Magic Without Tears course, because that's where I also teach the building blocks for the practice that we'll be doing. Okay, just to be very open and honest, because the last thing I want is to offer you a lie, right? Like, some of you might have seen my review of Demon Brand Magical Destiny. Uh, all you need to do to have the vision of the Holy Guardian Angel is to just meditate on this sigil. That's a lie. That's not true. That's not going to happen. So anyway, I'm not going to do that. It's going to be, you will see, it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be intense. And some of you might be familiar, for instance, with other courses like Sorcery of Hecate by Jason Miller, and he's also very honest to say, like, if you join this course, you have to do 100 repetition of a mantra every day for 7 months. Yeah, imagine that level of commitment. That is the level of commitment that you want to have. Okay, so that's it for me. Now give me 1 second where I stop this thing here, and I will be able to answer some of your questions. Okay, so let's start with this one. Can the Holy Guardian Angel be a demon? No, it cannot. Then again, we have to understand what we mean by the concept of the Holy Guardian Angel, right? I will absolutely explain what the Holy Guardian Angel Holy Guardian Angel means. For instance, if you attempt the Abramelin operation, it's something, and it's something that can be understood as your personal guardian angel, right? It's an angel, okay? While if you attempt this operation and this experience, by Thelemic terms, in a Thelemic framework, what you're really trying to do is to have the union with the Godhead. It's similar. Crowley mentioned that the experience of the Holy Guardian Angel, it's similar to the experience of what he called the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Samadhi is the final limb of yoga. It's the union with God. Nirvikalpa it's a specific way. It's a specific type of samadhi, and that is what Thelema, and so what I'm going to put you in the direction to. It's the union with God. So it has nothing to do with demons. The Holy Guardian Angel, when you first aspire to it, when you first try to listen to the voice of the angel, you can have what is called the vision of the angel, and this can appear to you in many different ways that will make sense to you. So at the beginning, it could be that if you have a particular affinity with a demon or with a spirit or with whatever, even with an angel, or really with whatever, it could be that you will see that kind of image. But the reality there is that you want to peel all those layers. You want to go deeper. There is one chapter in Book of Lies called Onion Peels that if you never read, I would suggest you to go and read it after this live stream to have a little glimpse of what I'm talking about. So long story short, no, it cannot be a demon. Especially if you're pursuing this by way of the Abramelin operation, it's absolutely cannot be a demon. If you're pursuing this under a Thelemic framework, it it's the Godhead. Okay, it's the absolute divine. Okay, uh, and my nose is acting up because I've been ill all week. Next question. In the term knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel, what does conversation signify? I would say that the more important thing is what knowledge signifies, because while conversation means exactly that, in the sense that being able to have a conversation with something greater than yourself that can teach you, and you can ask questions and receive answer, receive gnosis, receive information that you didn't have before, and it's actionable. This is especially true in a magical environment, in the sense that the Holy Guardian Angel, once you do have the knowledge and conversation, the Holy Guardian Angel can teach you magic that you didn't know before. Okay, the knowledge is more important and more interesting to me, because the knowledge is, I don't know if this is the same in English, but in Italian we have this term which is conoscenza carnale, which means carnal knowledge. Okay, and that is the knowledge that we're talking about. It's a very sensual experience. It's an experience of receiving, of being filled by something bigger than yourself. In the bridal chamber, where the union is consumed, the magician, no matter the gender, the magician is always the bride receiving the groom, and the groom is the Holy Guardian Angel. So the knowledge is a more interesting term there, and we will discuss this. We will discuss the sensual and sexomagical innuendos of this practice during the course. Okay, let me see. Does the Thelemic HG experience make the utilization of the sacred secretion as well? I think you're speaking about sex magic here, and I guess I just answered that, right? Sex magic, while it's not 100% needed for this experience, while this experience can be approached in different ways, uh, it's not it's not what you have to engage with it. But I'm seeing that you're telling me that it's not sex, you're not meaning about sex magic. So I am not sure that I know what you're talking about. So maybe you will tell me in the next in the next question. Wait, there you go. Secret secretion as in Christ oil, as the Christian side calls it. Well, you know what, it's interesting you mentioned that, because let's say that in my tradition, especially Gnostic Thelema, the Christ oil, the oil of anointment, is a code word for something else, and I'm just gonna let you imagine what that something else might be. So maybe I was talking exactly right about sex magic there, and the answers stay like that. It's not needed, but it can definitely aid the experience. But it's a very specific path. What do we have here? Does the Holy Guardian Angel experience combine to invoking any other enemies? Very good question. It is a completely, absolutely, utterly different experience. Invoking the Holy Guardian Angel, as it's completely different from invoking an archangel, from invoking a planetary spirit, from invoking anything. Okay, it's a unique experience, and the Holy Guardian Angel itself. Again, I'm talking from a Thelemic standpoint. Uh, our my golden dawn brethren or long distant cousin will disagree with me, but from a Thelemic standpoint, it's something completely unique. It has nothing to do with invoking, I don't know, Michael, or invoking Ok, or invoking Hagit. It's a unique experience. Okay, but it's a good question, because it's like, well, wait a second, is it the same thing? Okay. Let me see. Is there any? I don't see any other question. I see a. Thank you, Star Sapphire. Uh, I agree. What can I say here? Yeah, I mean, I try to keep my price decently down, right? When I first starting this, I was offering, one-on-one session for $25 an hour, and then I realized that everybody else was charging 100, 200, 300, and and then I got shut on because that I was selling magic. So like I try to keep my price decent, and I'm glad that some of you agree with me. Okay. All right. I think that we might be at the end of this stream only because my nose is acting up. I'm starting to sound like I am dying here, and that's never good. So, long story short, these are all the information you need to know about this upcoming course. If you sign up now, you get 25% discount. You can sign up later. There will be payment plans. That will be cost a little bit more. And that's all about me. I will try to go come back for to this live stream a bit more often. During the month of August, I will be writing uh, the course and also be writing book number two, which is I have a lot of ideas that are percolating there of what book number two could be. I think book number two will be we'll discuss the Holy Guardian Angel, we'll discuss the Thoth Tarot, and how the two actually really intertwine very closely. And then maybe something else as well. I like to talk a little bit about alchemy, and so we'll see. We'll see what whatever this book will come out. Maybe realistically in couple years time. So all right, that's it for me. Thank you all for being here. Do what the will shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love on the will. Good night.